Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. YouTube. What's good, guys? It's your boy TD, and I'm back again with another video, guys, or another live. And today's live is going to be on Week 14 waiver wire ads. Now, listen, guys, this is one of the most important probably waiver wire ads. Now, it depends on your team. Some people already got their bell cows. They got their bench set up. You good. You just trying to clip all the little thorns and prune your tree. You just trying to get everything fine-tuned for the playoffs. That's fine. But some of us are 6 and 7, 5 and 8, whatever your record is, right there where before you can get to the playoffs. And this is very important. So we're gonna comb everything that we need to talk about today. That's why I wanted this live to be late. I know a lot of you are off for work. A lot of you've been missing my lives. So I wanted to go live a little bit later today. That way everybody can come in from the West Coast, Midwest, the East Coast. Let's go. Let's get the likes up. I see you, Big Will, in the house. I say Big Will in the house. Watch your mouth. I see you, Hennessy Black. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. All right, guys, let me go ahead and get started. Go through these guys. I'm not gonna go over them I'm not gonna take too long doing that because I want to make sure I get to everybody question. But I'm gonna start with the quarterbacks. And I'm gonna go over server guys, and they're gonna relate to you the way they relate to you. Everybody ain't for everybody. Every single player that I'm saying, I'm not telling you to go pick this guy up. I'm giving you scenarios of what you can do and how you can implement a certain strategy by picking up a certain player. So let's talk about Jaden Daniels. Now, if I got Lamar, I want to pick up Jaden Daniels to see how. Now, if I'm in the playoffs and I know I'm going to make the playoffs, I want to pick up Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying he's going to be healthy this week because he still haven't went through all the protocols to get back. He's playing against Minnesota, the Minnesota Vikings. They can be had. They struggle on offense, so their defense is not playing as well as they've been playing in the past. But Jaden Daniels is a quarterback that need to be handcuffed with Lamar, knowing that Lamar is going through a bad stretch in his career. This is a career bad stretch for Lamar. So everybody that picked Lamar, it still ain't over for him to be a league winner. Now, if he finished out like this, he was a terrible pick for a lot of people. But if he get hot for you in the playoffs, it's about the quadrants. And I always told you that. Don't let one quadrant deter you from a superstar like that. But I'm telling you, pick up Jaden Daniels. If you need a quarterback, pick up Jaden Daniels. He's probably on your waivers. You hold on to him and see what happens to Lamar. And if Jaden Daniels doesn't come back like we all planned, like we thought Trey Benson was going to come back, if he doesn't come back, that's okay. Move on to the next quarterback that you like. If you like Jackson Dart, go to Jackson Dart. I'm not a Jackson Dart fan right now because I don't like the offense the way it's being implemented. This is not the Jackson Dart that was being picked up that everybody was playing when Brian Daboll was there. It's a different Jackson Dart. That's why I was a little bit nervous about that. But yeah, Jaden Daniels. Let's move on. Jared Goff. Now listen, this is the #1 streamer. Even no matter what his output is going to be this week, going against the Dallas Cowboys, because the Dallas Cowboys is a wild card team. That defense, we don't know if they're going to shut you out or they're going to give up 25. So you got to be careful, but I'm okay going down with the ship for Week 14 to get into the playoff with Jared Goff going against the Dallas Cowboys. Jared Goff will have to pass the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs and J-Mo. Amon-Ra is probably going to be out for 2, maybe 3 weeks. He might not be there for you in fantasy playoffs. That's okay. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. So Jared Goff is probably my #1 pickup to stream this week. Moving on, Jacoby Brissett, and he's going against the Rams. Now listen, Jacoby Brissett got a bad matchup this week, but he does pass the ball a lot. So if you just need somebody with volume and you in a 16-team league, 24-team league, these deep leagues, you might need to pick up Brissett and play him. Or you might need to just stash him because you might need a quarterback throughout the playoffs. No matter what the situation is, Jacoby Brissett is an okay guy to stream depending on the matchup and everything, and depending on what you need. Volume, he's going to have. So if 300 yards gives you bonus points, Jacoby could do that. They could lose the game. He still could give you 300 yards. Throwing it to Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Greg Dortch and Trey McBride. Moving on to another quarterback that I really like this week. It's going to be Tyrod Taylor. And I've been talking about Tyrod Taylor the whole season, telling y'all to get off Justin Fields, that I didn't think that he was going to keep the job. So that seems like Tyrod Taylor will be the starter for the rest of the season. So Sorry, guys, I was reading some of the comments. So I like Tyrod Taylor going against the Miami Dolphins, whose defense is not bad. They are okay, but Tyrod Taylor is a veteran and he knows how to win games. So I'm okay with starting Tyrod Taylor, knowing that he's going to be a safe play for you at the quarterback position, like in leagues like Superflex or whatever. If you are your guys on a bye or whatever for whatever reason. All right, and last but not least is going to be C.J. Stroud, and I think C.J. Stroud is more of a long-term pickup because this is his next 3 games. He got Kansas City, which is not a great matchup, but after that, he got Arizona and Las Vegas, and that's what you want to have C.J. Stroud for Arizona and the Las Vegas Raiders. So C.J. Stroud is the long term, and I've been telling people to pick him up and stash him going into your playoffs because I feel like this team has gotten better. They are protecting him a little bit better. And he's going to be able to get the ball out to Nico Collins and some of these young up and coming weapons. Let's go move on to the running back position. Let's move on to the running back position. It's going to be Bashal Tutin. And basically what I'm about to go down is all the premium handcuffs needs to be off the waivers. If a premium handcuff is there, and I'm going to go ahead and name them right now, Bashal Tutin, Kyle Managa, Devin Singletary, Trey Benson is no longer on that list because of he's probably, guys, he had a setback, so he might not play for the rest of the season. Just want people to know that. What's going on, Kuma? I see you. I see you, Travis Looney. I see you, C.A. Jefferson. So you need to make sure it ain't none of these premium handcuffs, and you know what the premium handcuffs. If you need to ask me in the chat, and I tell you if that's a premium guy. Okay, so Bashal Tutin, I talked about he's going against the Indianapolis Colts. It doesn't matter. He's a goal line back, so that's a safe floor guy. He's going to give you a floor, probably getting a goal line touchdown, knowing that Travis Etienne is not great in the goal line. I talked about Kyle Managai going against Green Bay Packers this week, but he's out snapping DeAndre Swift. He's no longer the backup. He's probably the 1A to the 1B. So I like playing Kyle Managai as a flex play if I need him and just having him stashed because if DeAndre Swift misses, you got a league-winning running back. And Devin Singletary. I think Tyrone Tracy could miss a couple of weeks. Now, they are on a bye this week, but Devin Singletary is more of a stash. And he probably is going to be getting all the goal line touches going into week 15. And Chris Rodriguez is my pickup. I'm playing Chris Rodriguez knowing that Jaden Daniels could start this week. Also, I like the way Chris Rodriguez is running. He's 230-pound running back. He looks good. So I like Chris Rodriguez just to make sure I'm getting goal line touches. Remember, in this type of NFL, what type of running back are you looking for? I'm looking for guys who's getting the goal line touches, the honey touches, the 5-yard in. Because it's hard to know. Well, who's the number one? You will not know. If you watch Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years, you won't have a clue who the number one is. But you got to watch who's getting the goal line carries. And you got to understand how to break that down. I'm trying to help y'all understand, like, hey, listen, Devin Singletary, he might not be a high-end guy, but the Giants are going to be playing from behind. He's going to be catching passes, and he's going to be getting the whole goal line touches by himself with no Tyrone Tracy. So actually, that moves Devin Singletary as a top 24 guy. So you got to understand that going into week 15, if Tyrone Tracy is out. All right, if you got any other running backs, guys, I don't know who else on your waivers that makes sense for you, but put it in the comment section if you need me to break it down. But let's move on to the wide receiver. Let's talk about Devon Vele. Devon Vele, guys, from the New Orleans Saints. And listen, he's playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They not great, but they okay. They are solid. He got a bunch of targets. He scored. I'm pretty sure he got the guys. I didn't have his. I don't got his targets wrote down here. I thought I had him down, but I'm pretty sure that was the guy that had a lot of targets. And somebody got a ball out here. Chris Olave, I know what he is. I know what he is as far as his targets, but I think Devon Vele is more of a better touchdown guy in the green zone. So he has touchdown upside. Chris Olave did drop a pass. We all saw that. But I think Vele might be a guy that they tend to start targeting in this quadrant. Remember, they traded a 3rd round and a 7th round for Vele to get him from the Denver Broncos. That should tell you something. They believe in Vele. Another guy that I like is going to be Isaac Tesla, and that's a touchdown guy. This is not no guy that's going to get a lot of targets, a lot of PPR targets and anything. This is a touchdown guy. He has, I think he had like 10 targets and 3 touchdowns. So that lets you know he's a touchdown guy. So I like playing him if I already in the playoff. If I'm trying to get some upside, I would pick up Tesla, especially if I got Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would make sure that if I needed to play a wide receiver and I didn't have nobody to fill that gap, why not play Isaac Tesla? Moving on, Treylon Burks. I think this is a long-term stash. This guy could get random targets. And also, I need to mention for Dynasty, don't forget about this guy. He's not chopped liver. Go pick him up. He got the pedigree of being drafted in the first round. So go pick him up. He's going against Minnesota this week. We all know that. That's for the Washington Commanders. But he needs to be picked up just to see what's going to happen if you got bench space on your team. And last but not least, and I apologize to people, I got taken off my square, is Anana Mitchell and from the Jets. And I knew he was the boom guy, but I got looking into everybody, watching content, listening to people. Mechie was the guy that was getting the targets. And I know he was getting the targets, but you know how I am, like how I'm on Christian Watson. I don't care nothing about no targets. Romeo Dobbs has always outsnapped Christian Watson, but Christian Watson has always been the better player. And that's the same thing. A.D. Mitchell has that upside of making a big play, beating somebody deep. And I got caught in getting John Mechie being safe, and I apologize. A.D. Mitchell is the guy that you should get. You shouldn't want no John Mechie. He's too safe. You need some upside. All right, let's go to the tight ends real quick. The tight ends are Zach Ertz, A.J. Barner, and Darren Waller. Now, it may be other tight ends like Juwan Johnson. Thank you, Big Will. I appreciate that. You might see guys like other guys out there like Juwan Johnson. That is a good pickup. He's always going to be a safe guy to play, even if the points doesn't equate to what you want. He's still getting a lot of targets. But Darren Waller, guys, I like Darren Waller. This Miami team is very sneaky. Okay, thank you, Hennessy Black. Vele had 8 targets. I thought he had a lot of targets. I thought so. I didn't want to be confused. Appreciate that. So Darren Waller, guys, is going to be there. He's not getting a lot of targets, but he is the green zone wide receiver. You know, Waller's always been like a wide receiver. So Waller's the green zone guy. Jalen Waddle and Darren Waller are the only wide receiver passing targets that I feel good about. Miami, Malik Washington, if I have to do a deep dive. A.J. Barner, man, looks like going to be a stud, guys. Go buy him in Dynasty. Like, I like the way the guy looks, pause, right? I think he has the NFL body of a tight end. He can block. He's sneaky good. I like A.J. Barner. Now, if they target him heavily, that's a whole nother situation. To me, the JSN is the only guy that you really can count on. But A.J. Barner is the second guy as far as getting safe targets, having a nice floor. So just want to mention that if y'all see him on waivers, if you need tight end or you streaming tight ends. And Zach Ertz with Jaden Daniels is always going to be good. But he was good with Mariota. So Zach Ertz is a top 7 tight end. Just want y'all to know that. If he's out there on your waivers, he's a top 7 tight end. I like him over these guys that I mentioned, even over Darren Waller. And I also like him over Juwan Johnson, especially with Jaden Daniels coming back. All right, let's get to some of these comments. Hey, let me tell you something. Peterson 1912. Don't spam the chat. If you spam the chat, bro, like with that same question, you can spam the chat with different questions. I don't care about that. But if you spam the chat with the same questions and you ain't even talked about how you get your question read, you ain't talked about super chatting, you ain't talked about coming a member that's only cost you $1, I'm gonna skip over your question. Just letting you know, bro, because I get to everybody's questions. So don't spam the chat with the same question. Appreciate you, man, being here. All right, here we go. Hennessy Black says, wish me luck. Win this week. I'm headed to the shit. Yes, sir. C.A. Jefferson say, TD, that Mariota over Daniel Jones play got me into the playoffs, cutting edge content. Is that what I told you, bro? There's so much going on, but we wasn't going to do no tomatoes, and we had to get down to the nitty gritty. You probably made that decision on your own, bro. But yes, let me see, the Mariota, I don't remember. But I'm glad it worked out for you. Travis Looney says, what up, bro? What's up, Kuma? Father 3 says, yeah, you called it on Dart. Looking real nasty over there. Laugh out loud. They damn near killed that boy last night. Yeah. Right. Burgess says Patrick Mahomes is going to win the Super Bowl because they have bad teams they going to play against. They can be 11-6 in the playoffs. Right. You right. That's a champion. You can never count them out. A Gang Rizzo says, good looking out for that JMO call on Thanksgiving. Would you drop the Pats D or Tyler Loop for Evan McPherson? I would drop Tyler Loop because the Pats D got some good matchups, and that defense is getting that's one of the best defenses in the NFL. That's a top 5 defense, so I want to keep that on my team. And Evan McPherson is killing it from the Cincinnati Bengals. They always going to be around in the red zone and green zone and field goal range because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So I like Evan McPherson. Sports Dog says TD100. I am now in 3rd place for my playoffs, but week 14 I must sit May and CMC. I don't know why, but I'm about to understand. So will use Jackson as quarterback and J-Mo and Pickens as my wide receivers. Warren and Marks, RBs, tight end Bowers, and 2 flex Godwin and Rodriguez. Why you sitting seeing? Okay, okay. This week I get it. Okay, that's why. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking that you was talking week 15. You talking about week 14 this week? They all on buys. Yeah, yeah, man. J-Mo and Pickens, you killing it. That's two. That's 2 top 5 wide receivers. 2 top 5 wide receivers. Yes, sir. Let's get the likes up, fellas. Father 3 says drop Quentin Johnson for Mike Evans. Yes. Yes, I would do that. I mean, listen, Quentin Johnson is Quentin Johnson. You know his upside. So we're not going to worry about if he scored 20 points. If you drop him, you know he can score 20 points against anybody at any time. So you can't chase what he does. You got to make a decision. I'm going to drop him or I'm going to keep him. You can't say, well, I'm going to drop him. Oh, he scored 20. If you do that with him, you're going to be always disappointed. So I would go with Mike Evans to get ready for the playoffs, knowing that Mike Evans could, get going, and he's probably going to get a lot of targets. Him and Godwin probably might get targets over Ibuka, knowing with everybody coming back. Ibuka might just be a 4-target guy now, right? So I would definitely drop Quentin Johnson and pick up Mike Evans, knowing that Quentin Johnson is so volatile. Burgess says, is Mahomes going to win the Super Bowl? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be a different team this year, but I would not be surprised. That pedigree over there is Super Bowls, championships. So you can never count them out as long as they can make it. Intelligente. He says, is Dowdle wearing down? Chuba is the real deal with his leg is healed. Well, listen, I ain't going to bounce around. Rico took his job. I'm going to be humble. I believed in Chuba. Chuba was on my 70% hit rate. If he come through for the playoffs, that's going to be going back to my hit rate. I had a couple players that I talked about had not been playing well. J-Mo and Chuba was a couple of those guys. I'm trying to think if it was any other guys. But yes, J-Mo and Chuba was a couple guys. But it looks like Chuba, and I'm happy that Chuba looked good because, that was just, I had traded for a lot of Chubas in Dynasty. But now I feel good about it, and this team is dangerous. A lot of people laughed at me, said I was a homer, that Panthers, I'm just talking about the Panthers because that's the team that I'm from. I'm from North Carolina. No, I told you that the Panthers was going to be a good team this year. Bryce Young, every time he puts it together, and you see what his accuracy is. When he gets on, his accuracy is deadly. He's deadly accurate like Aaron Rodgers when he's on. When he's outside the pocket and he can see the player, he's deadly accurate. His anticipation is elite. But we don't see it all the time. So the coaches got to find that thin line, how we get Bryce Young into his bag. But yeah, Chuba's going to be good going down the stretch. He is a start rest of the season after week 14. Put him in the flex. Hennessy Black says, dropped Tootin for Rodriguez last week. Going to see if I can get him back tonight once waivers clear. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because normally I would say, why you drop Tootin, man? I know you need to win with Rodriguez, but I get what you're saying. Sometimes you need to drop a player so you can get a player in to win that week. And hopefully you can get back to him. So nothing wrong with that. Hennessy Black says, start Rodriguez or ETN. I'm going to say Rodriguez. I don't think that, yeah, Nichols is taking a lot of snaps from Rodriguez, but not Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He's not taking a lot of snaps from him. When it comes to ETN, Bashal Tutin can any game can outsnap him and outplay him. I don't think nobody's going to outplay Rodriguez. So on that team, far as Nichols or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. So I'm going to go, like I said, we're not doing tomatoes in this quadrant. So I'm going to go with Rodriguez over ETN in a tough situation to get the most points and get the goal line situation. Minnesota is not terrible. I don't want to disrespect Minnesota defense. Brian Flores is good, but they're just not playing good because of the quarterback situation. The quarterback situation seems to permeate throughout the team when they playing bad. So I'm going to go with Rodriguez because I think he has a better role and a better goal line role than ETN. Sports Dog says, my bench, Vidal, Shakir, Tooth, and London. Would you use any of the bench guys? Nope, we're not using Vidal unless Omari Hampton is out again, and we think he's going to play this week. So they could split carries this week. We don't want to play Vidal in the split carry backfield. Shakir is Shakir. He's an underneath PPR guy, but you got really good guys already in your lineup. Unless London was 90%, we're not going to play London. Now, if he's active and he practiced some, you might probably want to go down with him. You probably might want to get, that's too high draft capital for you to use him on his bench if he's practicing, if he's assumed 90% healthy. Hennessy Black says Vele had 8 targets. Yes, sir. And Big Will and Sports Dog, I appreciate y'all guys helping me in the chat. If sometimes if you want to post a link out of the description box, you're welcome to it. I would appreciate it. It helps me out. But I appreciate y'all deleting the weird comments. Appreciate that. Hennessy Black says, I am Peterson says, do I start Ibuka or Justin Jefferson this week? Start Justin Jefferson. Ibuka, now, could I tell you to sit Justin Jefferson? I could. At this point in time, I would tell people to sit Jamar Chase's and Justin Jefferson. I'm not saying Jamar Chase, I'm just using an example, right? So I could tell you to sit Justin Jefferson, but not for Ibuka with Mike Evans coming back. If Mike Evans wasn't back, I'd be like, woo. It would be close. But no, not Ibuka this week. We're going with Justin Jefferson. Intelligente says the Chargers sound hopeful that Herbert can play through his injury. Yes, I was hoping that he missed 1 week, maybe because I'm playing against the guy that got Justin Herbert, and I wanted to play against Trey Lance. But yes, surgeries are quick these days. They can get you back, especially when it comes to the hand. They can get that shit healing pretty quickly, especially if it's not your throwing hand. Hennessy Black says pick 2, PPR, Vele, Flowers, Pierce, Tesla, if St. Brown is out, or Higgins. I'm pretty sure that's T. Higgins. If that's T. Higgins, so listen, man, like I said, you don't have to take my advice, but I'm gonna get, like, we trying to win. We're gonna go with Flowers. We're gonna go with Zay Flowers and Pierce. Now, if that's T. Higgins, you can go with Flowers and Higgins, or you can flip. You can take Higgins and replace Pierce or Flowers, or with any of them, whatever you're comfortable with. But those 3 guys are really good plays. Tesla, no. Vele, no. Not over Higgins. If that's T. Higgins, if that's Jaden Higgins, no. But if that's T. Higgins, no. It's T. Higgins, Alec Pierce, and Zay Flowers. And you put them in there the way you see fit. Me, I would do Flowers and probably Alec Pierce with Higgins coming off the concussion. That's just a common denominator that I can pull out of that. But yeah, I'm okay with Flowers and Pierce or T. Higgins. Kuma says Ferguson or Darren Waller. I'm going with Darren Waller. Sergio says, Big Dog Titty, who would you start, Golf or Hurts? I would probably go with Gurf. I said Gurf. What the hell am I talking about? I would probably go with Golf, knowing that they're gonna have to pass the ball a lot, and that's the highest over and under, like, which is 53 points right now. So I would probably go with the points with Golf, knowing that they're gonna, even if they winning, they're gonna pass, even if they losing, they're gonna pass. Hurts, man, he just a tush push waiting guy that gonna, hopefully he can throw a couple touchdowns. So I would rather go with Golf over Hurts. But hey, they both are elite. You can't go wrong. I would go with Golf though. Hennessy Black says Waller or Juwan Johnson. I will go with Waller for the upside. Juwan Johnson is very safe, but I like Waller for the upside, man. Anthony says Steelers should have never got rid of George Pickens. I agree with you 100%. I have a friend that loves the Steelers, and he says the same thing. I can't believe Mike Tomlin couldn't manage George Pickens if you drafted him. Voltron says Tesla is the only flex play in deeper leagues. J-Mo will benefit if St. Brown is out. Right. Right. Big fact. C.A. Jefferson says, you told me right before the game time. Good looking out. Okay. Got you. Got you. Lance Peterson says, should I start Ibuka or, okay, we did that one already. Mr. G says, Rome is killing me every week. Should I grab and start Onana Mitchell, Troy Franklin, or Tesla, or just go down with the ship? Go down with the ship because of who Rome is. Rome draft capital and his position on the team is so strong that you're going to be swapping out. You swapping out your week. Your week is coming, but if you swap him out, you might not never get it, and you might end up losing because you switch and go to Troy Franklin. He play bad, then you go back to Rome, and then he don't play good. I would stick with Rome. Some players in your lineup, you just gotta let it. You gotta go down with the ship and let their numbers do what it's gonna do, and everything evens itself out. Just like the stock market, it does this, but guess what? It steadily creeps up. But if you get out of it, and you say, well, I'm gonna buy this, you might ruin your whole portfolio trying to chase money. And then all of a sudden, the one that you sold, it goes up to the roof. So you got to stay with it. So if that's the only player, and I love that context, if that's the only player that's letting you down, that's easy to let him go in there and put him at the flex play or put him at whatever position you got him and just let him evolve. Voltron says, is Kincaid a must-start option on his return? No, he's not a must-start. Big Will says, what's up, bro? We starting or sitting McConkey with Herbert non-throwing hand. If Herbert plays, I'm starting McConkey. If Herbert doesn't play, I might not start McConkey. I probably won't start McConkey. So it's all about Herbert. If Herbert plays, I'm starting McConkey. If Herbert doesn't, I'm probably sitting McConkey if I got a better player. If I don't got a better player, I'm playing McConkey, but no matter what. MVM says, who should I pick up from waivers? Drake May on a bye, Stroud, Mariota, or Tyrod Taylor? Drake May on a bye. That's easy. Drake May on a bye. You don't want nobody to pick him up and play him against you. You have to play defense right now. T-Bit says, do we take only about the NFL here or college football and other sports? Bro, whatever you want to talk about. I don't watch a ton of college football, but I know college football. I know somewhat the players. But I'm me doing fantasy football. I'm mostly on the NFL. I do look at a lot of basketball. I play in a lot of NBA fantasy leagues. So, man, I know a little bit of all sports. So we could talk about whatever, T-Bit. Appreciate that. MVM says, should I pick up Godwin or Mitchell for this week? I would say Godwin over Mitchell. I would pick up Godwin over Mitchell. Now, Mitchell's that loan could be a league winner. If you want to take more of a risk or more of an opportunity because you just can, because your team is so good, then Mitchell has more upside than Godwin. He could end up getting 100 yards for the rest of the season each game because of what Tyrod Taylor can do for the team. Godwin can end up being a 70-yard guy, maybe a touchdown every other game. So Mitchell has more upside, but Godwin is way more the safe pick and a guy that you can see what his fantasy output can be. We don't know what Mitchell can be, but he has the upside to be a top 5 wide receiver the rest of the season. So you have to take your chances. What you looking for? If you're looking for something real concrete that you can count on, that's Godwin. If you're looking to find a spectacular sleeper, go with Mitchell. Holy Inspiration says Mechie doesn't get the downfield work like Mitchell, but Mechie was close to a big day alongside Mitchell, but he dropped a touchdown. Okay, thank you for letting me know, Holy Inspirations. Yeah, I can't go back to that. Mitchell has the upside. I got to stay with the upside. That's my play. I don't like the save guy for PPR, like a Chris Olave. I usually don't pick those guys. I'd rather have a Shaheed than a Olave, if that makes sense. Big Will says, I know Mike Evans is worth picking up, but if you have a stud wide receiver on your team and another boom player, is he worth starting over the boom player coming off an injury? No. So, Big Will, I got to let you know, everybody ain't everybody. If you want to pick Mike Evans up for defense, that's fine. But the way you saying it, man, you probably got a good team already. So I understand what you're saying, but Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. So if you're gonna talk about picking him up, then I would say, yeah, you got to pick him up over the guy that you mentioned because it's Mike Evans. But if you don't need him, then you got to think about, should I play defense or my team is too good? So that's a great question. You helped me frame it. If you think your team really, really good and you don't want to drop nobody because you got Bashal Tutin, you got Devin Neal, you got a bunch of really high-end handcuffs, and you don't want to have to drop one of these guys for Mike Evans, then Mike Evans ain't for you. But if you got an open spot with a guy that ain't getting that many opportunities, or even if you drop him, nobody's going to come and pick him up and beat you with him, then go pick up Mike Evans. So you got to use context of what you're trying to do. Everybody, I always tell y'all, everybody ain't for everybody because I don't want y'all picking up players and dropping players that's going to have an opportunity next week, but you dropped him just to get a guy that he got name value. Sergio says, TD, Burrow or Golf? That's a good one. That's a good one, bro. If T. Higgins plays, I'm going with Burrow. If T. Higgins doesn't play, I'm going with Golf. So if T. Higgins plays, it's Burrow. If T. Higgins doesn't play, go with Golf. Hennessy Black says, Rams winning the Super Bowl. Hey, I'm not going to argue with you, bro. Just because the Carolina Panthers beat them, I know better than sit here and jump on a bandwagon because you lost. So I understand. I get it. Chef Boy, what's up? He says, Jacoby Myers or Christian Watson? We're going with Christian Watson. Shaq Graham says, TD, pick 3. London, J-Mo Sutton, or Scary Terry. Must-win situation. Thank you for letting me know. We're going with J-Mo, Scary Terry, and London. And if London doesn't play, then you go with Sutton. Holy Inspiration says Luther Burden caught 10 passes on 16 targets for 106 yards. Yes, he is second in target share. I just don't want to play him in case he breaks out. I just don't want to play him in case he breaks out. Right. So you can pick him up. Listen, the only reason why I'm not mentioning him, and actually, man, thank you, man. I should have probably mentioned them for people to pick them up just to play defense. Sorry about that. Thank you for putting them on my list. I've been talking about them all season. But this is the thing, guys. You got DJ Moore. You got Rome. You got Colston Loveland. You got Managai. It's a lot of mouths to feed. I don't want to chase the guy who goes off for the Chicago Bears every week because there's no number 1 there. Rome Odunze is the closest thing, but it could be DJ Moore. It could be Luther Burden. Shit, if somebody hurt their ankle, it could be Olamide Zaccheaus. So that's the only thing about Luther Burden, but he is definitely a pickup if he's out there on your waivers. You don't want nobody just picking this guy up and he gets on fire. Everything that you said, Holy Inspiration, that's big facts. That's cutting-edge content. Pick him up if you can. Sorry, guys, I didn't mention him. Sorry about that. With that type of target share. Bandit says, did you say sit Jamar Chase? No, I did not say that. No, don't sit Jamar Chase. Don't do that. I was using an example. B. Silver says, JJ Hughes disappointment. What do the Vikings do with quarterback next year? Go out and get a veteran. Go out and get somebody like a Tyrod Taylor, a Justin Fields. You got to go out and get a veteran and do what you did last year with Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. You have to do the same thing. Hennessy Black says, thank you. I was leaning Rodriguez over ETN coming into the week. Yes. Chris Walker says, what up, bro? PPR, start 2. Genty, Harvey, Sutton, Alec Pierce. We're going with Genty and Harvey. We're going with Genty and Harvey. Hennessy Black says, looks like I'm starting King Henry, Chase Brown, and Rodriguez in the flex. Thanks, bro. Yes, sir. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Go down with that ship. Shaq Graham says, Strains or Ertz. That's tough. I'm going to say Ertz. Ertz. I love Strains, but I'm going to go with Ertz, man. Hennessy Black says, Jefferson is due. He should get at least 15 points. Listen, and you right, far just do with points, looking at an algorithm, but I don't go off algorithms. I try not to go off an algorithm of just Man, he been playing bad for 6 weeks, and I think it's just gonna be him because he ain't had a game in 5 weeks. I don't like doing that as a professional. I like to have something concrete, even if I just feel it, and there's nothing out there to say that he's gonna boom a certain week. But he is due. But it's Justin Jefferson. So you have to use context when you're trying to start and sit him. Certain guys you're not going to start over him, and certain guys you're just not going to sit for him, right? So you got to, it depends. Like, oh, but this player, no, I'm not going to start that player over Justin Jefferson. I'm going to start Justin Jefferson because I know he's going to get 10 targets. But then sometimes you be like, what? I got J-Mo? I'm playing J-Mo over Justin Jefferson. So you got to make these decisions depending on the player and what they have been doing for you in the last quadrants or two. Holy Inspiration says, is Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, or CJ Stroud the best replacement option for Drake's May Week 14 bye? So just for Week 14 bye, I'm not going with no Trevor Lawrence. I can't go down with the Trevor Lawrence. But for a bye week, yes, he fine. If you already in the playoffs, Trevor Lawrence is simple. If you already in the playoffs. But if you're not in the playoffs and you really need this win to get you a good seed or get into the playoffs, I probably would go down with Jordan Love this week. But I like CJ Stroud after this week, but not this week going against the Kansas City Chiefs, who needs to win. So that's tough for CJ Stroud. So I would say Trevor Lawrence just for this week. You already in the playoffs, or you're not even really playing for a seed. But if you playing for something that matters, I will go down with Jordan Love. B Silver says the Raiders coaching change finally got Bowers involved. I was so close to sitting him. I know B Silver, and that's why I was telling you, like, you can't do that. Even though he didn't get the targets that I thought he would get more targets, but they was trying to get him the ball. They know what it was. The offensive coordinator knew what it was. King Sirius says, would you rather have Matthew Stafford or Justin Herbert the rest of the season? Matthew Stafford. DJ Pat says Drake May for MVP. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. MVM says Stroud, Mariota, or Tyrod Taylor. Please pick one. I think we're going with Tyrod Taylor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with Tyrod Taylor. Now, listen, rest of the season, CJ Stroud. But for the week 14, we're going with Tyrod Taylor. King Sirius says the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't moving on, but do you like Mike Tomlin? But do you think Mike Tomlin is? But do you think Mike Tomlin is the fans want him gone? Okay. Do you think he's moving on? No, I think they're gonna give him one more year. I think they give him one more year to prove himself, to make adjustments. Remember, this is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They only had 3 coaches in their whole lifetime. I like Mike Tomlin, but I don't like the way the offense is ran. I think he's good if he had the right offense. Excuse me. He don't have the right offense, if you ask me. That double tight shit, certain teams can run that. Certain teams are built for that. Like the Colts are built for that. But some teams are built for the spread. And I think they need to spread the ball out. They had George Pickens and Calvin Austin and Pat Frymuth and Darnell Washington. And they should have been running a spread offense. They should have brought in a Cliff Kingsbury type offensive coordinator. They tried with Matt Canada, but it didn't work. And they should have stayed with that type of trajectory of offense, but they didn't. So that's the thing that hurts Mike Tomlin, in my opinion, is his offense. He has to adjust. Hennessy Black says, thanks for the added confidence to play Waller over Juwan. Yes, sir. Bandit says, do you see Lamar turning it around this week versus Pittsburgh? Yes, I do. I don't know if it's going to be this week. And I don't have anything, bro, that's concrete to tell you, like a breakdown, some cutting-edge content. Only thing that I can tell you is Lamar Jackson, and we're going to bet on Lamar Jackson turning things around and getting elite and trying to get his face back because of what people are saying about his play the last 3 weeks. So that's the reason why I'm counting on him to turn it around. Will it be this week? I don't know. I just needed to be in the playoffs for me. But I get it. I actually need him to play good this week for me to have a chance in a couple leagues to make the playoffs. I'm 6-7 in the seventh spot, in the sixth spot in a couple leagues that I need to win with Lamar Jackson as my quarterback. Sport Dogs at TD100. Any thoughts on kicker and defense to run with this week? No, let me get to my stars of the week and stuff like that. This is waiver day, so I don't got anything like that for you, and I'm not just going to create nothing looking off the top of my head. But as the week go on, I'll let you know what kicker and defense to run with. I didn't know what defenses was on your waivers. What's one? It was one defense that I really liked this week. Let me see. Yeah, let me wait on that a little bit. I know Seattle defense is good. That's a good matchup, but let me wait a little bit before I give you somebody. King Sirius says, are you stashing Quorum? He's a premium handcuff. Yes, he is. He is a premium handcuff. I would think most people would know that he's getting a lot of targets, but yes, he is a premium handcuff. He should not be out there on your waivers. But the backup for Jonathan Taylor, he should be on your waivers. You don't have to pick him up. You understand what I'm saying? So Blake Corum, yeah, that's just one of the premium handcuffs. Yes, sir. Father 3 says, drop Charbonnet or Tootin for Alvin Kamara or Chuba. No, I wouldn't drop Charbonnet. But if you need a starter, you can drop Charbonnet or Tootin for Chuba. I think Charbonnet, you're gonna have to make that decision who you want to drop, right? Because both of Tootin and Charbonnet are the same person. I don't know who's gonna get hurt, so I don't want to tell you to drop Charbonnet and then Kenneth Walker get hurt, or ETN. I tell you to drop Tootin and ETN goes down. That's God and the fantasy gods, right? So to me, Chuba is the guy. Yes, go make a decision, but you're gonna have to go make that decision between Charbonnet and Tootin. They are the same. They both are premium handcuffs. So you got to decide which one you want on your team. I don't know what type of women that you like, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how you like your women. I don't know how you want your team to form. Me personally, just what you showing me, what would I do? Probably Tootin. I couldn't drop Charbonnet, who gets carries with Walker. So probably Tootin, which Tootin does too. But Charbonnet just wanted to probably the premium of the premium handcuffs because he had standalone value like David Montgomery. So it probably will be Tootin for Chuba, but you got to make that decision. Shaq Graham says, thank you, anytime. Big Will says, do you think Wicks will hit again versus Chicago? Bruh. When it comes to the Green Bay Packers, it's Russian roulette. Nobody knows who's going to hit. Now, Wicks has been playing good the last couple of weeks, but we seen time when Wicks was the only wide receiver. He was going to get 10 targets, and he crumbled. So that's worries me a little bit. So I don't know. All I know is Christian Watson is the guy that I want to play. I don't really care about playing any of these other guys outside of Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, and Jordan Love. I don't want to play anybody else. But if you have to play Wicks, I mean, what is it? What is it to it? Darren Chandler says, I'm a huge Bears fan. I want to see them play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bears are a very high contention. Yeah, they got to, man, listen, they the number 1 seed. You got to put some respect on their name. Big Will says, no, we did that. Shaq Graham says, I'm tripping. I missed one. Pick 3, London, J-Mo Waddle, Scary, or Sutton. We're going with J-Mo. I might have skipped it, bro. I apologize. But we're going with J-Mo, London, and Waddle. We're going with J-Mo, London, and Waddle. If London misses, we're going with J-Mo, Waddle, and Scary Terry. So it's all about London. If London plays, then you swap. I would swap him out probably for Scary Terry. Or you can swap him out for Waddle if you want to. It's up to you. So if London is in there, you swap him out for Waddle or Scary. If he's out, then you just put Scary Terry out there. You just go with Waddle, J-Mo, and Scary Terry. No Sutton at all. King Sirius says, is Devin Singletary valuable down the stretch if Tyrone Tracy missed multiple games? Yes, sir. That's why I mentioned him. Yes, he is. He's a great stash for the rest of the season. Hennessy Black says, Loop, Rams kicker versus Arizona or Evan McPherson. We're going with Evan McPherson. We're going with Evan McPherson. Big Will says, what's up? The Judy crashing out on Shadir. Listen, it happens, but it was disrespectful for Shadir. You ain't showed nobody up all year, and you want to get into your rookie quarterback face. People don't like the way that look, Judy. You might have been right, but it doesn't look good to go to your rookie when you not Steve Smith. You not a top end wide receiver. I know you may feel that way. You may be mad for somebody to tell you that, but that's just how people are looking at it. So I think he was a little bit out of pocket. He needs to wait to catch Shadir at the right time to tell him, you know. Sergio says rest of the season, Waller, Jawan, Schultz, Ertz, or Strange. I'm going with Waller rest of the season. King Sirius says, is Gaddison just a boom or bust streaming tight end? He's a good tight end, but it's a lot of mouths to feed, guys. You can't get mad at him. I don't know if he's a boom bust guy. It's too many guys over there for them to get everybody to get targets. So somebody's going to be left out. One player going to always be left out. Chris Walker says, need a quarterback this week. Trevor Lawrence or Sam Darnold? Sam Darnold. For this week, bruh, we can play Trevor Lawrence for this week. I will play Trevor Lawrence just for this week. Hennessy Black says, is Tomlin merely Marvin Harrison with a chip? Marvin Lewis. Is Tomlin merely Marvin Lewis with a chip? Kind of the same comparison. I think, yes. I can't sit there and try to knock Marvin Lewis because he didn't win a championship. He had Cincinnati in the playoffs for like 5-6 years in a row. That's hellified. MVM says, Rodriguez, Charbonnet, Strange, Gaddison, Kincaid, please pick two. This is for my Dynasty League. Okay. I'm going with Rodriguez. And if it's tight end premium, go with Strange. If it's not tight end premium, I would go with Rodriguez and Charbonnet. I would go with Rodriguez and Charbonnet. But the best tight end, if you wanted to play a tight end, even if it wasn't tight end premium, I would go with Strange over Gaddison and Kincaid. But Rodriguez over Charbonnet this week. Bandit says Kelsey versus tough Houston linebackers or Jawan Johnson. Jawan Johnson. No tomatoes. Whoo, that's tough though. Whoo, let me think. Listen, man, I'm gonna say Jawan Johnson right now, but because this is a must-win game, I might change Bandit. So rock with me for the rest of the week and keep asking me this question. I might change, but right now I'm gonna go with Jawan Johnson because of the matchup. But I might, because of this being a must-win game for Kansas City, I might not can't go against Kelsey. So keep asking me that question. Dakota says, to be fair, the Niners are the hardest hitting team and most fundamentals. Are we rattled? And we rattled the other team. Yeah, you rattled the. I mean, I ain't gonna say you rattled, but you know you got a good defensive coordinator. Robert Saleh is like that. So that team is very disciplined. Zane says Scatterbo or Jonathan Taylor next year. Jonathan Taylor. I will go with Jonathan Taylor. King Sirius says, do you think Judy hurt Sanders' confidence? No, I don't think so. Sanders is ready for this. They just need to get on the same page. He's ready for people to come up and question him. That's what he's been. His father got him ready for that. A-Gang Grizzo says, would you drop Troy Franklin for a Chuba? Yes, I would drop him for Chuba But if you need somebody this week, it would have to be Rodriguez or just keep Franklin. No, I would drop him for Chuba. I have a lot of good running backs and I already have Sutton. Okay. If you already have a lot of good running backs, I don't know what your team is, A-Game. I'm just trying to see if you need to pick up Chuba to play defense, if it's gonna. But yeah, man, drop Franklin's not gonna. I don't think Franklin's gonna come back and hunt you down. So I definitely think Chuba could do that. So I would go and get Chuba and drop Franklin. Hennessy Black said, should the Vikings have paid Darnold and kept him? Probably. But I mean, they wasn't gonna give him no $100 million deal, but they should have gave him another $40 or $50 million. But that's hindsight too. Live CD Capital says, ain't nobody hurting his confidence. Pap, Us Gaming says Sanders is good. Yes, he is a good player. Steve McNair says Waddle or Devontae Smith. We're going with Waddle. Zane says, is Chuba overtaking Dowdle now? No, I think it's going to be more of a 60-40 split going back towards Chuba. But if Rico gets hot, it can change any game. Nobody's going to necessarily... I think right now Chuba is ahead, but it could change if Rico gets hot. Pap says, what's your team? The Dallas Cowboys and the Duke Blue Devils. All right, guys. Well, listen, I guess I'm getting ready to get out of here. You guys be safe. See y'all later. Peace.